What's going on, everybody? Back here with a special interview, one I've been waiting to do for a while now. But nonetheless, I have my guy, Jazmen Darnell Brown, who is your writer in the BMF family, not only of episode 303 Sanctuary, but when you talk about that banger of a finale from season 2, 210, oh yeah, that's our guy right here, Jasmine. A pleasure to have you today. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. A couple of things, man. One, obviously meeting at the premiere, I'm always really prone and keen to see folks that look like me within those spaces and running into you. First of all, I want to just tell you how you just really changed the trajectory of my night because to know somebody that recognized me, and I'm definitely never somebody that wants to be in the spotlight or popular or any of that sorts. But for somebody to recognize the work, that meant a lot for us here at the outlet. But then it came from you. And when you was like, "Oh, I'm Jazz," I was like, "Come on now, like not the writer here." So the stars align we're here to talk about, but I definitely wanted to start off by just saying I really, really appreciate that interaction. It meant the world to me that night, and what was already just a fantastic night filled with love with the BMF family as we were celebrating the premiere of season 3. And I want to start right there for you, man. That night, what can you say? Fantastic, but from your end, man, taking it in, you all not only having a premiere, but also got the green light for season 4. So there's a lot of things to really celebrate that night. So, with all that being said, any emotions, how was the premiere for you, brother?
The premiere was great. I mean, not it's not, too often that you get to go to those type of things. It's not too often that you are on a show that goes this many seasons. So it was definitely a blessing. And as you know, 50 Cent, G Unit, Stars, they kind of do it up with the premieres, especially if it's BMF. If it's BMF, you got to take it to another level. So no, it was great. And I know as well as for me, as well as the rest of the writers in the room, with the writer's strike, with everything that happened last year, it was a pretty tough year to get through. So to be able to celebrate the premiere and have it received the way it was, I mean, it was a blessing.
Agreed, agreed. And another really special and touching moment of the night was Randy showing up. As a fan of the show, a supporter of the show, seeing Randy there, damn near brought me to tears. But for somebody who's worked closely with him, who brought this is his golden child here that has blossomed now into 4 seasons. Seeing the leader Randy there, really amping up the energy. Randy wasn't about anybody being sad or anything at that moment. Randy was like, we're here to celebrate here. But for you, having that relationship with him, being a part of the BMF family, what was it like seeing Randy showing up that night?
Very emotional. I mean, Randy, is responsible for all of the writers who are in the room, and we all have our own relationship with him that kind of goes back, some time. I met Randy on another show that I worked on for BET called The Quad. And just to witness, I don't know, he was like a phenom in the room. The energy that he brings, the passion that he brings, the joke that he's telling. He's basically the life of the party, no matter where he's at. And I don't know, BMF. If you know anything about Randy and his life and everything, BMF is so fitting that it's his because it when you watch it, it feels like his personality. So we love Randy. We were so happy that he could be there to kind of have that experience with us. I honestly don't feel like it would have been a BMF premiere if he wasn't there. So
Well said. Yeah, I love your adjective here of saying like a phenom because that's kind of as a pro wrestling fan, that's how I felt. I said when he came in, I said it felt like The Rock was coming in, like things felt electric. You knew it was a big deal. And again, any moment that Heather wanted to fill it up with some emotion, Randy was like, "Nah, we here to party. This is a celebration." I think that's just a testament to just how much love was within y'all family with the BMF family here.
yeah.
Um, anyone who's a fan of ours at the channel, and obviously, I said this to you in person. I just want to make sure I echo it here is and rightfully so, in all due respect here, the fans, we tend to give a lot of love to the directors and the actors, 50 showrunners and so on, stars is in terms of bringing the show to life. And everybody I named absolutely deserved their flowers. But as you mentioned, the writer's strike, I don't know what bigger indication of just how important writers are to the success of a lot of these series. And so anytime we even talk about any episode, we make sure we stamp right away who the writer is, what this writer brings. You know, if you've seen episode 210 and you know how explosive that was, you already know when you see Jazmen show up tag teaming with Cierra, you already know this is about to be an insane episode. So we always like to give our flowers to the writers. For you, again, talking about being a part of this BMF writing team and what writers bring to the show, and obviously what you all were able to stand up for in the writer's strike and getting better benefit, better due for everything that y'all contribute to these shows. Just to give you a moment here, being a writer, a part of this fan, what has it meant to you? And if you also want to return some flowers to some of the other writers of the series, just talk about everybody and what they bring for each season to season.
It's interesting for me because I actually grew up in Lansing, Michigan, which is about 90 minutes away from Detroit. And my parents were around during this era, right? So like my pops, like he worked at the plant like Charles, like, you know, I have members of my family that went through the foster care system. So I'm in the room and I'm hearing all these stories and I'm just reliving a lot of my childhood again through, you know, Meech and Terry and everything that they're going through, which is a similar experience to watching the show. You know, everyone has his experiences from the 80s and 90s. They remember Jack the Rapper. They remember these different things. So I don't know. It's a very sometimes good, sometimes kind of emotional experience for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, everybody in the writer's room brings something special, which is great. And we work our asses off. Like, you know, we not only have to take this true story and make it entertaining, but we have to do research on, you know, these different parts of culture and these different historical moments. So, you know, everyone's excited about it, but it is a lot of work, which is why, you know, we're so happy that the writer's strike ended the way it did, because if you know anything about being a writer, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you turn off the Zoom or you go home, you're still working, right?
Yeah,
You're still coming up with pitches, you're still doing research. You kind of never turn off really. So,
yeah.
but you know, our room is a room full of heavy hitters. We have Patrick Moss, who's been on the show since season one. We have Garen Thomas, been on the show since season one. Jeff Diggs came in season two from the Power universe.
Yeah.
Shaquela Mims and Tariq Simmons. They were actually worked on production during season one and then got brought into the writer's room, and they've been killing it lately. Rose McAleese, Kirkland Morris, myself, and then we have, you know, a number of assistants who also kind of chip in and write. So it's really, I mean, in Randy's spirit and BMF spirit, it is a true family.
Yeah.
And we're just all happy that, you know, the show is turning out the way it is and the fans are receiving it the way they are.
I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my guy Mike Winley here, also part of that team. You know, my man Mike, another not only a supporter of ours, but somebody we're a huge supporter of as well too, in terms of really bringing banger episodes alongside of yourself. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that, you know, especially with this season, with the focus of Atlanta, the Atlanta culture, and then really in particular with your episode when you talk about the Jack the Rapper convention, and the Jack Gibson, Jack Gibson, who, you know, the founder here of this, it goes as you said, it goes beyond writing. It almost makes you a little bit of a historian here, because you got to do the research. And not only do you do the research, you got to learn it. You almost got to live in it, because if you're going to convey a story, like you have to be in the essence of it as well too. Right. We talked a little bit about this, and I was like, let's hold it off for the show, because I wanted to really feel the reactions about the work that you did here. So I know that you spent time with the family, which means that, listen, you all out there, and whatever your stupid preconceived notions here, this is legitimate work. This, when you tap in with the family, when you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, as they like to say, you know, these are true stories. That's what this whole series is about true stories. The Flenory family is right there on set, a big part of the success of this show. And now, because that just wasn't enough, now you're diving into all these other little intricacies of everything. Talk about being with the family, talk about getting this story to life, and then ultimately parlaying it to my last and final question here is the big moment of this episode where we get to see Tupac and Meech. This is a legendary moment that has never been documented on television. Meech confirmed it. Another a confirmation that when you talk about the family, that these things happen. This is a legendary episode in this entirety. But yeah, talk about all of that prep and getting that done, and we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, no, it was a very ambitious episode, even from the conception of it. I mean, listen, I wasn't that around. I wasn't old enough during the time of Jack the Rapper to know anything about it, and even before we started the season, I had never heard of it before. So I do my deep dives before we start the season on these different events in Atlanta. Heard about Jack the Rapper. We have a consultant in the room that tells us all these stories about, Meech and T and a lot of stuff that no one's ever heard of before. And one of them was their experience at Jack the Rapper. So it felt like just the perfect time to kind of group these stories up of, Meech needing his father to sign off in this apartment, and also, wanting to give a little bit of a character to Atlanta, show you a little bit of the history, show you a little bit about what the city's about, just similar we did to Detroit. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was really all these different things coming together. And because I wasn't around, I was like, listen, we need, if we want to get it right, we need to get some real people involved. We need to really do our research. And so I was calling people, and I finally got in touch with little Jack the Rapper. He got me in touch with the rest of the family, and then we were just doing these hour-long, 2 hour-long sessions where they would just kind of unload all these juicy secrets and details with me. And then they met with our production team as well. They were on set so that they can do cameos and so that they could see things. So they were very much involved with the process, and we are very grateful to them that they were allowed us to kind of showcase the event the way that we did and kind of bring on the history of Jack and everything. But in regards to the Tupac story, I'm sure certain people know where the story is going. And so that was a very kind of crucial element to kind of tease some of those things up.
Yeah.
And like you said, he is a legend, and it's another legend. And I don't know, when we came up with it in the room, everyone just kind of like got excited.
Yeah.
And especially knowing that, hey, there are parts of this that are factual. It's like, how can we not tell this, right?
Yeah. God, man, what a moment. What a moment. What a moment. Jazmen, I know I gotta let you go here. I know it's time to get back to work for season 4. I know you can't say where your involvement is in season 4, but we're definitely looking forward to seeing your credit being dropped for that whatever episode that's going to be, or many episodes if need be. But it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, man, and looking forward to our next chat.
All right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, brother. You take care.
All right.